Hi there, this is Tim Freund with Dilbeck Estates in Westlake Village, California. And today's video is the 5 things you need to consider when going through a divorce as to whether or not you should keep your home. Okay, keep your real estate. The first thing to consider, most basic, can I afford it? Can I afford it? Remember, your income is going to be cut in half, regardless of which side you are in the family. If one's the income earner, the other's the income earner, it doesn't matter. The income is going to be cut in half. The expenses of that home do not get cut in half. So you have to ask yourself, number one, can I afford it? Number two, how much cash will I have? How much cash will I have? If you're buying out your partner for half of the equity in the home, that money is going to come from either cash reserves or retirement, because you don't just get their half without giving them compensation on the other side. Now, obviously, there's going to be situations where that's not true, but for the vast majority of divorces, the income is cut in half and the cash is going to get depleted when you keep the real estate. So how much cash are you going to have? How much cash are you going to need? Okay, that's number two. Number three, what about expenses? I alluded to this earlier. Costs don't go down just because the income gets cut in half. It's a funny thing about that. The bills stay the same. But the thing about a home, unlike, say, renting a property, is there are maintenance costs, okay? You've got repairs to make. You've got annual maintenance things required. You've got, the air filters. You've got the gardener, maybe the pool person, okay? The housekeeping. You've got the repairs that might be made that maybe were being made by your partner that are no longer being made by your partner. Now you're going to have to hire someone to do. Who's going to get the light bulb? Who's going to, replace the leaky faucet or fix the drip under the sink? You're going to have to hire somebody to do that. Now, maybe you're in a relationship right now that neither of you can do those things, and there's no cost differential there at all, or maybe you're both entirely capable of doing those things without any effort, and it's not an added consideration. But for most of us, there are costs associated with home ownership that you're not going to have had you sold the home and rented. Question number 4. What about the kids? What about the kids? The inclination in many divorces is to keep the house for the stability of the kids. Makes it hard enough, it makes it easier for them to adjust. It's a hard enough thing to deal with. I'm here to tell you, in my opinion, kids are super resilient. They will adapt no matter where you go. What is going to be very hard on them, however, is to watch the parent who kept the house struggle to keep the house because the costs have gone up, the income's been cut in half. Maybe there was money in the beginning, but over time that becomes depleted. The stress starts to show, and whoever's still holding the home is going to be in that intense pressure cooker. That is going to affect the children more, in my opinion, than moving them to another location. Kids adapt. They're going to be fine, especially if you can keep them in the same schools and stuff. It's almost no adjustment at all. So really, very important. Think about that. And finally, who pays the cost to sell? Who pays the cost to sell? When you are in a divorce and the decision is made to liquidate the property, the cost to sell is shared equally. If, however, you retain the real estate and in a few years, because of these other reasons, you conclude, I got to sell the house. Maybe the home's gone up in value. That's the argument. Hey, prices go up. I made money on the house. There's a discussion to have there. But here's the thing about the cost to sell. When you're in the divorce process, the cost to sell is shared equally. When you own the house, guess what? You get to pay for all the costs. Escrow, title, the realtor fees. You're looking at maybe 6% plus or minus to sell that home. If it's $1 million home, that's $60,000. Half of that money would have been paid by the spouse had you sold it up front. But now you're left selling the house afterwards. You have to deal with that. You have to absorb all that cost. So the 5 things to consider, one more time, 5 things to consider. Can I afford it? Be honest with yourself. Your costs are going up. Your income's going down. 2, how much cash am I going to have? If you're buying out your partner, that cash is no longer yours to use. And don't forget, that's all tied up in the real estate, which is illiquid, which you don't have access to. Sure, you can get an equity line of credit, but that's expensive now with rates. You tied up a lot of capital. What if you're going to need that capital? You're going to have to sell. 3, what about expenses? Expenses don't go down just because you get divorced. In fact, in many cases, they go up. So you're going to have those expenses. And then, of course, there's all the expenses related to your home and the maintenance of your home. What about the kids? They're adaptable. They're very flexible. Kids are resilient. They will adapt. If you're under pressure and you're under stress, they're going to feel that. That's going to be more detrimental than making a move to some other nearby neighborhood in a home you're going to rent. And finally, who pays the cost to sell when eventually you have to sell? You do, because you kept the house. It's all on you. My name is Tim Freund. You can reach me on the web at thousandoaksrealestate.com. That's 1000oaksrealestate.com. Tim at is my email. You can find me on my blog, therealestateconversation.com, and of course, DM me, the web, Instagram, LinkedIn, all those different places. You can reach us. I'm out of Westlake Village. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. And by all means, if you are thinking about liquidating your real estate because of your divorce, I'm your guy. Thanks so much for watching.